We've got 10 seconds remaining. 3, 2. Looks like it's going to be a draw. Looks like it's heading for a draw. Maguire down the line. North.
Hi everybody, welcome to the Lot Pod, the Leeds Rhinos Lot 17A podcast, kindly sponsored by ACD&B, who are a branding and creative design agency based in Farsley, Leeds. They create standout brands. If any companies out there need a brand new logo or a brand refresh, just get in touch with ACD&B. We thank them as always, not only for sponsoring the podcast, but for creating the fanzine, for publicising the fanzine, editorial of the fanzine, and of course the merch. Joining me as always, my right-hand man, my co-host, but our amazing statsman, Statman Reese.
I'm a stat man.
Reese.
Yeah, great, thank you. I'm quite excited. You're going to explain in a second why. But yeah, good day out at Odsal, that afternoon at Odsal. But I'll let you explain why I'm so excited right now.
We are currently sat in our brand new posh Lot Pod studio, aren't we? You may be wondering where the video is to this. We are on video today because we're trying out all this brand new spanking equipment, and I think you'll agree we sound a million times better.
We do. It's easier, isn't it? I mean, it's weird looking at Eddie actually whilst I'm talking because we've actually never done this before. So it's quite uncomforting actually. Normally I can just look away on my screen, but now I've got him looking at me directly in the eye, and that is quite worrying. But yeah, we've got the equipment to try and do things at a time. But this just sounds amazing. It sounds so much better.
We're incredibly lucky. This is the match review panel for Bradford versus Leeds. Who's with us today? Now this is weird, because he's sat next to us.
Yeah, we've actually got the guest with us as well, so this is like double weird. But I'm not sure what to call him, whether it's Lot Pod director, technical advisor, sponsor. Anyway, it's Chris from ACD&B. Chris, how are you?
I'm all right, guys.
Hi, Chris. Welcome.
It's all right.
Sat next to us. We are in our amazing new studio. But Reese, you insisted that we all record naked. Why? Why is that?
Well,
why did you insist that we all had to be naked?
Because you always talk about having pizza in your boxes, and I thought we should try that. But as a team, it's once now we're together.
Bonding.
It's a bonding, isn't it? Now we're together in a studio for once, and we're not recording a video, thank God. It's just about initiation, isn't it?
There's
it's
something a bit
bonding.
more comforting about seeing your testicles in front of me whilst reviewing
It's effectively a pre-season pod, isn't it? It's about trying new things, and that's essentially what we're doing.
So this is Bradford versus Leeds.
We're not.
Moving on.
Just about this dude.
Moving on. We'll start in true Lot Pod fashion, as we always do, with the positives. Start with Chris. Any positives Leeds can take from this one, Chris?
Fergus McCormack.
I've got a whole section ready for him.
I know Reese wants to talk about him. It was just good to see the kids get a run out. So yeah, we're quite enjoyable. Quite enjoyed a day out at Odsal. I think people will probably look at the score, and if they weren't at the game, sort of think, what the hell went on? But
well, we won't mention the score.
It's not these. It's difficult because I was stood with Reese, and we're saying, remember, it's just a friendly.
Yeah, I mean that was me telling myself that throughout the game.
He's getting a bit uppity.
Yeah,
I just had to give Reese as a friendly. It's a friendly.
Calm down.
But I think there's loads of positives. Yes, it's a pre-season game, and yeah, the result's the result. But there's minutes there for team players that didn't really play in the Boxing Day game. Particularly Ledsky. We were actually screaming for Ledsky to come off.
Yes.
When he came out in the second half, I'm like, no, that's too many minutes, Rowan. Like on that pitch, let's not risk this.
We've done kick off. Let's get him off.
Yeah.
Sub.
But I think in terms of the players, the positive in terms of a player's perspective, I think Jack Smith in the 2 games I've now seen him in a row from Boxing Day and now today, there's a player there that I think he could be one of the backup centres, depending on Max's recovery. But definitely, I'd put him as a third choice winger. If Hanley or Fussy Tua go down, I'd put Jack Smith in there easy.
He just looks ready.
Yeah, he came out of the line at the right time, didn't he, in certain defences when the ball was going wide. He looked strong. He had some good chances down that left-hand side. He just looked ready. He looked like, at the point towards the end of the game when it was all kids, he looked like the first-team player in that.
Yeah. I don't think there were any injuries as well, so that's probably...
Thank God for that.
Yeah, that's good.
That's always the biggest takeaway.
Yeah.
In pre-season, no one injured.
Especially on that pitch.
Just on Simpson there, do you think now, Chris, Jack Smith's potentially above Max Simpson due to being playing?
There was an interview with Rowan, I think this week, and what he said about Max Simpson was, there's no way where we're going to rush him back.
Mm.
So I don't know how much he'll play this year, but he said he's a generational Leeds Rhinos player. We're not going to risk it, and it's...
So it was a big injury that he had as well at quite a young
And we don't
age,
want another Harry Newman.
No, so I don't think this is his year. But what I took from that is that they obviously rate him very highly.
Very highly.
So
I agree.
And we've seen enough young kids coming through that look ready. Give them a go rather than...
I almost don't think it matters of a pecking order between Max and Jack, because either way, they're going to wear 3 and 4 anyway in 5 years, 6 years' time. So, and I think Jack could be more of that winger centre player, and I'm not sure I've really seen Max in a wing actually, but Max is... I think Rowan's right with Max. You can't rush him, and it's hard to tell who's above the other, because we haven't seen Max play for so long, and
it feels like an age now.
And his recovery is the absolute. I think that's the exact approach that Leeds needs to be doing. But is he also Jack's opportunity to put his name in the hat? But yeah, for me, I'm not sure the pecking order really matters, because they're going to be wearing 3 and 4 in 5-6 years' time anyway.
I will say it's a positive, not just on this game, that I don't think I've seen a better crop of youngsters.
I was going to say
for
that
20 years.
This time feels different. I know we've said this loads, but in terms of the academy.
Well, there was some playing. We were like, who's that?
Yeah, there was the squad.
Who's he?
I know that.
The squad that got put on Twitter.
Daryl Alford. Who's he?
The squad that got put on Twitter, it actually said Warrington versus Leeds, which was the first mistake. But they only had like 4.
Straight onto amateur rugby league. That.
Straight. But there was only 4 players or 5 players on the bench, and then all of a sudden there was players coming on that we had no idea. But some of them put great shifts in. It was great to see Leon Ruin play again, actually. And there was people talking to me, and Chris mentioned actually during the game about him playing prop going forward, and I can see it a bit more now.
Did he play prop?
I think he came on for Walensky. But again, with the amount of subs that were happening, I mean, the poor announcer must have been knackered.
He was, because he'd been singing Tina Turner.
Yeah, there's in terms of that crop of youngsters, I think you can still put Jack Sinfield in that group.
It just seems to be loads.
That Tom Littlewood, I think it's Tom Littlewood or definitely Littlewood, whatever, who was wearing number 11
So many
today.
double-barreled names now, though.
Yeah, it was a bit posh actually. It was a bit weird that. Yeah. But Littlewood looks great again. He had a really good shift in today.
He put a hell of a shoulders charge on someone.
That was Watson, though. That was Nicholas Watson, wasn't it? Yeah, it was the most blatant.
It's always double barrel names. You don't know who anyone is.
It was the most old school shoulder charge I've seen. First 5 minutes, just went straight in there. It was great.
I was quite happy with that. Well,
shoulder to nose.
I mean, we conceded a penalty and the score down the other end anyway, but it was worth it for that shoulder charge from Nicholas Watson almost.
But they actually looked better when it was all the kids together.
Again, very similar to Boxing Day.
Yeah, just because they know each other's game, I think, didn't they? And
well, I'm going to say it slightly differently. They looked so much more dynamic in attack when that Fergus McCormack came on the pitch. I genuinely, I'm trying to keep my feet on the ground with this one. Well, I don't know. I shouldn't really, because the delusion should be feeding to be even more than normal, because you're piercing it.
Chris has to repeat what he said off air, by the way.
But I genuinely think that there's a generational talent. If you're talking about Max being a generational talent for Leeds, this Fergus McCormack is off the
essentially,
charts.
we've just got loads of generational talents here.
Some good players.
Fergus is just, he's so intelligent, and the structure that he brought, the runs, the dynamism, his step, it's so exciting to watch him play. He is a running 6 throughout.
He looks like a natural player.
Yeah.
Do you know when a player's got time on their hands, and
Almost like the step ahead.
Everything he does looks really classy.
And the best thing was that pass for Darryl Alford.
The assist.
It was a
Do
absolute.
not downplay Darryl Alford's part in that.
He put the ball down over the line.
Put the ball down without dropping
caught
it.
it.
But
Yeah.
the pass was an absolute peach. It wasn't one of these lofty ones. It's a beautiful,
Dialed in.
dialed in miss pass, but perfect on the actual exactly where you need to put it on a winger. Any winger would have scored that try because it was that perfect of a pass. The assist is better than the try itself.
If you were to say Fergus McCormack, for those who've never seen him, I've never seen him. Those might be listeners who've never seen him. There's been a couple of comparisons to Sam Tompkins, maybe in his step and the way he plays. Is there another player that you could say he's a bit like?
Your mate.
Is he that good?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I get the Sam Tompkins thing, but he looks more of a playmaker than Sam Tompkins did when he was a kid.
I think so. I mean, Tompkins was he played half, wasn't he? But I felt he was always better. He played his best at fullback, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And I think Fergus just naturally, as that running six, he will just cause problems.
He has got
a bit
Maguire
about him. I think he's got a bit. If tell you what, a blend of Sam Tompkins and Danny Maguire is not a bad. It's not a bad suggestion to make.
That's kind of what it is. He's got Danny's sort of awareness and
the elusiveness potentially of both,
and the running style of Sam Tompkins. So it's going to be a good.
It's really exciting, and I think someone like Brodie coming in as well. He's got a really great part to play in Fergus's development. But I think Rhinos picking up Fergus and Ned. I mean, Fergus was the one that picked up from Union, wasn't it? I think, or either or, both from Union potentially. But obviously they went to my school, so that's why they're so good.
We've got to the bottom of it now.
Yeah, that's why the phrase.
So we've got Jack Smith, Max Simpson, centres. They're sorted next 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
Fergus McCormack, Jack Sinfield, halves sorted next 5 years. We're pretty much covered in academy products already.
And Little Tom,
yeah.
he's going well.
Wasn't that explosive today, but it just did his job today. It's difficult to tell at Odsal. We're going to talk about Odsal later. But it's really difficult to tell how many metres a player makes because the pitch is that
Because
freaking
they're so
small.
fucking small.
It looks like they've made 3,000 metres.
Like a Sabuti pitch.
but they haven't.
But they haven't. So it's quite difficult to say from a prop perspective he made yards because he did, but he did on that pitch because it's just you just can't tell. But he didn't do like immense. Like he wasn't immense, but again he just did it. He did a solid game as from that perspective.
Yeah, it's just good for him to get game time against a big Bradford side, and that was a good Bradford side. It wasn't.
Yeah.
There were a lot of experience, especially in their halves. But some of the props were huge, weren't they?
Yeah, they were very good up the middle. The Bradford played. I think Bradford will give Wakefield a bit of a run for the money this year. I think they will do. I think.
Shout that.
I would say that Bradford. Now this is me saying I've not even seen Featherstone, but having seen Wakefield and Bradford in the pre-season, I definitely think Bradford could give Wakefield a run for the money. I think they'll be very hard to beat at home because they knew their pitch very, very well and they played it extremely well. There is a prop for that Bradford team. What we wrote his name down.
Eben Skur.
Eben Skur.
There aren't many people that run a ball in better than him.
Do we know much more about him? How old is he?
I don't think he's that old, but
Then we can wiki
I
it
saw
as
him.
we go.
I saw him last year, and I was
24. I'm going to say Reese.
I saw him last.
Reese is googling it.
Yeah.
Sorry, Chris.
I saw him last year, and I thought I wouldn't mind Leeds picking him up, but then he re-signed with Bradford. I don't know whether he's full or part time, so that might have had a. But yeah,
But he looked good.
He's just a wrecking ball.
Yeah, I think the only thing that might not help him is he's not tall, is he?
No, he's not that
But it
big.
doesn't bloody matter because he
Kylie wasn't really.
he runs.
Barry, not really.
I don't think there's many people that run the ball harder than he does into contact. And he just doesn't stop. He just ran full pelt, no pause before contact, and it was quite exciting to watch.
To be fair to kids, they didn't.
Dip back down.
No, I mean he knocked a few of them over, but
Got back up.
yeah, they were putting a shift in against them big.
23, 24.
23, 24.
Yeah, I've just seen an article when he signed his new deal that he was 23 at the time, so he was one of the two.
Good player, whatever your name is. Another youngster we haven't mentioned yet, Riley Lum. How did Riley look today?
He needs to put a bit of weight
to the
on.
gym.
blowing away in the wind.
He didn't shirk anything, did he?
Again, similar to Boxing Day.
We were saying, why is he running into them people?
Yeah, he had a habit of
Run around them.
Yeah, he had a bit of a habit of running into the biggest person he could find, and they're going, Riley, like you need a bit more timber on you before you do that, or at least aim for the arm, the outstretched arms, and the shoulders, rather than running straight into them. But to be fair to the kid, he never shirked from the ball. He always He always wanted the ball. I always liked that. He wanted to be part of the game, and he always wanted the ball. He took the ball into contact. There's a player in there. He's definitely below Alfred Edgell, I think. At the moment.
Definitely, yeah.
But we've seen the Leeds Rhinos youngster strengthening program on a couple of youngsters in the last 10, 15 years. He's very much next on line.
And he is really young, isn't he?
I think he's 18.
So he's next couple of years he might bulk up a bit. And he's got a good step as well, hasn't he? So he's quite elusive. I was really impressed.
I think a bit of his defensive positioning on some of the goal line kicks could have been better, but that comes with experience and time and playing at that next level, which he was getting that more experience.
And it's a difficult position to play, isn't it?
Yeah.
So it's very rare that you've got a full-back at 18 that's got that awareness.
No.
So it looked good.
And there's no rush for him to play at the minute.
No.
Obviously, Miller is starting, and then Edgell, and then Lum. So there's plenty of time for him to progress, along with the other generational talents that we have. We just seem to be full of them for the next 15, 20 years. Odsal. It is a dump. I said before we came on air, I do miss it. I do. It's one of my favourite away grounds. I know it's an absolute horror show. The dump of the North. How was it? Has it got worse since your last? First of all, when was your last visit? Was it recent?
I went 2 years ago to the pre-season game.
And is it worse?
Yeah,
it's got way 2 years.
There's more areas cordoned off.
Yeah,
and the
we just red tape.
The hospitality.
They have hospitality.
Yeah, they've got that big
shedding corner
thing, haven't they?
It were
like, that's going to fall down.
Yeah, decent gust of wind.
You could have done with a jet wash.
When was the last time you went, Reese?
I don't think I've been since 2012.
Right.
And it's definitely gone downhill since then.
Major downhill.
It's sad
in that time.
I found it quite sad, really, because a bit like you, that the Odsal away days were a massive thing. We were talking about it before the game kicked off, when you'd get 20-odd thousand, if not, that massive arc at the other end of the stand would be full. And it's just such a big part of the rugby league history in that period. And I was talking to my other mate that was there today, and we haven't got that rivalry anymore in Super League, and I absolutely miss it, and I absolutely miss those game days when we played them at Odsal with those full crowds, because I think Super League misses it as well, and it is a shame.
One of the best games I ever been to was, I think it was 99, and I think there were 25,000 there.
Yeah.
We actually lost by a point, if I remember, but it was just electric. And then you see it now, 3,000 people rattling around in it, and it's
speedway track around it.
And it's
I mean, we need to talk about the pitch, because the pitch itself actually was fine in its condition. Actually, I was surprised at that.
We were shocked.
But it's tiny. That it's not regulation. If people go on my Twitter,
the proofs in the
and Statman Reese, me and Chris were looking at that. What's that line there? And it took us a while to work it out. We realised it was the 30-metre line. But the reason why we couldn't work out what line it was, because we're looking at, that's the 40-metre line, for the red line for the 40-20, and there's the 20. Where's the 30? And I'm not joking, the distance between the 40-metre line and the 30-metre line can't have been more than 3 metres.
Yeah.
So they kicked a 40-20, and I'm like, that would a 20-20.
That would
And this is what I meant. It's really hard to just work out how many metres players were doing, because there was one point where they kicked a penalty, and I thought, God, that's a massive kick. They've kicked it from their own 20 to the other half, and Headingley had only gone 10 metres. It was a really tiny pitch, both length and width, wasn't it?
Yeah, and one thing that we didn't really spot it, did we? And then we went, are those concrete, where the advertising thing?
Yeah, about a metre off the touchline, there's these concrete bloody bollards.
Barriers with the advertising. And I'm like, I hope nobody gets tackled into them.
I was flying into them.
Well, people were standing in front of them as well, so they were going to get it as much. But because I was like, there was a thing on the NFL where a tackle happened and it hit one of the technical trainers and his leg got snapped in half. And I was thinking, God, if someone gets pushed into touch here or gets tackled into touch, the people on the sideline could get hurt. And then Chris went, well, what about the concrete barriers that they're stood in front of? That's probably worse. But it's, yeah, I mean, a parking situation as well. I ended up parking next to Cam Smith, actually. Had a bit of a handshake.
Stroked his mullet.
I tried to, actually, yeah.
I bet it smelled nice.
I didn't get that close, actually. That's for a future.
It strikes
event.
me as someone who smells
I've got to build
nice.
up that trust first.
Yeah, before you sniff.
Yeah, Chris, let's edit this out, actually, just in case we ever get him on.
No, let's never edit this out.
Chris is all wise. He's like, I'm not going on there. But yeah, I got parked in the clay, the red clay bit.
The red clay.
Yeah.
The famous red clay of Bradford.
Just had my car cleaned, fuming. Inside and out. My jeans are covered in bloody red clay, everything. That was the first part of the day. I thought, oh God, here we go, we're back.
Good old Bradford.
It was colder in the bowl, wasn't it, Chris, as it was out of it? As always, the microclimate has got.
I remember that from a couple of years ago, so I layered up. So I was absolutely boiling when I got there, but quickly got down to normal temperature. And I think they were taking some tips from Wakefield because they didn't turn the floodlights on till, and it was getting quite dark, wasn't it?
Was getting, but on the floodlights, not all the lamps were coming on. I don't know if they were pedaling enough on the bike. I take the mick, but I'm taking the mick out of the RFL because they're the ones that own the stadium have made it worse.
But yeah, the floodlights were terrible.
Yeah.
But on a positive, £4.20 for a pint.
What was it though?
Carlsberg, so it's a negative.
Yeah.
But 2-pint cups, which we used to get them at Headingley. I missed them.
They've stopped doing them, haven't they?
I've just stopped doing them. I mean, I don't drink at the game, but
they definitely haven't.
Have they?
The only ones I sort of thought had it last year was at Newcastle. Some of the other, I think, did Leeds do it? Maybe Salford. But no, yeah, 2-pint cups, I missed them. But yeah, it was £4.20 a pint, which is good, but it was Carlsberg, yeah.
So we all agree we all miss Bradford, but will they ever be back? Can you see what you've seen today? Is there anything there that you could kind of look and think, that were good tonight? Have something
well,
there.
with the IMG stuff, they've just got a hell of a lot of work to do.
They have.
They need a screen.
It's not fit for Super League.
No.
And I know this Castleford that their ground's not fit neither, but it's. I don't know how much it'd cost to get that up to, but they're not ready as a club.
No.
I don't think we'll see them for a few years. I think maybe when it inevitably goes to 14 teams, that's possibly.
I think they've got the squad potentially to challenge this year, but when it comes down to the point system and the gradings, I think they are going to struggle. You know, they haven't got a big screen. Having been really picky, they're still doing the scoreboard with a bit of paper on the home and away bits and sliding it in.
There is part of me though that I'm incredibly nostalgic about. Do you know, like when you go to like Headingley, when you look at the Western Terrace, I'm just like, and I'm being genuinely serious here, I'd never want that to change.
I have this conversation with some people all the time, and it's usually away supporters. Western Terrace,
there's no room,
and I'm like, well, isn't that quite good that with some of it's preserved, that it's old?
Yeah,
I know if they could do it, they would, and they can't. Sick of telling people that, but it's quite nice that this.
I agree that because some of the old grounds that are just not here anymore, and it's just, Nosey Road, was a classic one.
And then what they get now, it's nowhere near.
And in Headingley, obviously, yes, it's still on the same site, but it's a vastly different stadium to what it used to be. It's nice to have some of that originality still in Super League, and the history, because it's quite a historic sport. It's a very old game, and that Odzal's an old stadium. Odzal's got the record unofficially for the highest attendance in the UK, wasn't it, for that Challenge Cup replay between Halifax and Warrington?
It was, was
in
Warrington
1956, something like that, 120,000.
120,000.
Imagine getting out at car park then.
Oh God, I know it took me an hour today. I can't remember how long. But
red clay up to your knees.
Yeah, I know. But the only other problem with the ground is, I don't know if you remember being at Odsal, but obviously you have to walk down into the stand. There's not many. I can't think of any other grounds where you have to walk down into the stand. But I forgot how steep it was. If you've had a pint, you're done, aren't you? Like you
Or a
fall up,
two-pint.
or a 2 pint, yeah. But if you're a bit tipsy, or even if you're just not very
I
balanced,
bet there's been many people
if you
listening
fall-
to this now
yeah, just
who have took a tumble down
gone all
those
the way
and-
down those steps because it's
and done
quite
some
steep.
damage.
And then the other thing was the other negative was getting to the toilets because we made the mistake of going towards the bottom of the stand when in reality everyone else has obviously been towards the lot recently went to the top because to get to the toilet you had to walk all the way up to the top of that stand and then you had to go up another 2 flights of steps
And
to
what
get
were
to
the toilets
get to
like? What were the condition of said toilets?
a cowshed. I think is probably the best.
Literally a cowshed. I don't know whether they've done that on purpose or and like it went to wash my hands. I'm like, oh, there's no soap.
There's no water.
And I
It's
think
just
that
a
I
pig. You
think
just got to ask the pig to spit on you.
they would be dirtier by washing my hands in that water.
You'd feel-
It's more
feel
hygienic
worse.
not to wash my hands.
I think what Bradford need are a Gary Heverington and is it Paul Caddick?
I think a part of me
people
goes,
to
if any
come in.
sensible businessman actually went
Yeah.
and took it on, they'd look at Odsal and go, we just can't do it.
and completely revamp the whole
Yeah,
thing.
because we said why aren't they at Valley Parade? But I think the pitch is even smaller there.
And there's some history because I think Bradford
there's a lot
Northern
of
were
history.
Bradford Park Avenue. They were close together, and obviously Park Avenue don't like City. Apparently,
Ideal world for Bradford would be for them to build a stadium, a community stadium
Yeah.
for them both.
Mm.
But it would never happen because Bradford City fans wouldn't go for it.
They just
No.
weren't-
I
just
think
not on board.
if someone came in with almost was a bit stupid with money, was happy to redo Odsal, but I like I said, I think there's so much more to do than just the pitch.
Did you not see when they were trying to get that funding from?
Oh, that concept.
Yeah, and they were saying
design,
it's
yes.
50 million. I'm like, that's not going to put another zero on it.
It's not going to scratch the surface.
Yeah,
What on
it's
earth?
a shame because there's a lot to do there, and it's a shame because it's a classic ground.
And I think it's like you said, it's so unique that you go in and then you go down.
Yeah,
I think you could just put a roof on it, like the concept had.
yeah, but
It'd be incredibly unique.
Because the problem Bradford have got now, like, have they lost a lot of that support?
I think so. Well, how long has it been? Is it 10 years?
Yeah, I
10
mean,
years this
even
year.
then they weren't getting that big crowds, were they?
No.
But if you go back to early noughties, and it was buzzing
Height
and
of
all that,
Bullmania.
and it's all right saying, well, they'll come back, but will they?
That's true.
It's a difficult job to
You've
get.
lost a generation
yeah,
of
that
fans.
Bull Mania was insane, wasn't it? In the
Yeah,
early
yeah.
2000s,
And they were, well, them and Keithley, to be honest, were like pioneers in that.
yeah.
But it's not that anymore, is it?
No.
It's a different. That's not going to work again.
Did you see many young fans there today? From the Bradford side.
It was quite a mix, to be fair.
Mix.
And it was quite strange because the fans were sat together today,
Yeah.
or stood together, which obviously is quite rare in rugby league. I don't know if it's because, I mean, to be honest, I'm glad they didn't put us in that one behind the post because we wouldn't be able to see the whole back there.
It's cordoned off.
Yeah, it was cornered
I don't
off.
think. I don't think they've. Got,
I don't think they do. I think they must have to have it mixed on game day. I don't know.
You just have the one stand open
Yeah,
And the
and the seats.
seats.
Yeah.
It was fine. They were taking it very serious, though. There was,
It is their cup final.
there was a lot
It
of
genuinely-
shouting, and it's like, come on, guys.
he's 18. He's 18. He's
Yeah.
18. This is a very much a Bradford versus
just a friendly.
a reserve side.
just while it's sprung into my mind, what I have noticed, and I've noticed this on both the friendlies, is the ruck is so much cleaner.
Than last year.
They're playing the ball with the foot.
Mm.
Did
Do you
you
think
not?
that's something that'll stick?
It's
for
got
the
to.
year? Yeah.
But
Just
it's part of
penalise
the
them.
rules, isn't it?
It makes such a big difference. There were hardly any 6 agains, were there? There were a couple, but
There was a couple.
there were obvious 6 agains.
No, the game flowed quite well, and when the penalties were penalties, they were, to be honest, they were penalties.
Yeah, which you don't mind, do you?
No, like Nicholson Watton, but shoulder charges in the first 5 minutes.
Love
Shoulder
that.
to nose.
Love that. It seems that it's cleaned it up.
Well, Rowan will be happy.
Well, hopefully, he won't moan about it.
Yeah, we did
Is he
hear
moaned
that
about every week in his-
bloody game. Yeah,
But he was right.
He was.
It's just it were a bit annoying because it wasn't going to change, but they've changed it. So just wait till they bring in short kickoff rule from NRL.
That'll be fantastic. I mean, I want them to do short kickoffs every kickoff anyway, but if they bring that rule,
I actually think that's quite a good rule.
I do.
the rule, that rule.
Are you going to go against it?
No, I think it would. I think how it was the rules designed. I think is a really good. I think it would enable the short kickoffs to actually be a really good part of the game. But until that rolls into Super League, I don't want it anywhere near this team. There's certain things that my pet hates. I mean, rugby league in general. One of my pet hates for Leeds Rhinos is these short kickoffs because
I love them.
I see it, and
I kept winding him up. Short kickoff.
We did two. We had a 50% success rate today, and the first one we got.
That's his first stat of the year. That
I just started going
50%.
Yeah, well, there was two. It was quite an easy stat. There was 2 attempts and we got one. I'm no mathematician, but that's an easy one.
Get it on the spreadsheet.
It is a short kick-off on that pitch.
But we even failed one.
We even goal line dropout.
Oh no, it was 33% because we tried a third one towards the end and it went too short. I think you left at that point. So actually, it was a 33% success rate.
They tried another
one and towards the end of the game and it was too short.
Well, I knew I had like 25 minutes to walk up them steps.
Yeah,
I better set off.
We scored from a kick actually today.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah,
we scored from a kick.
Yeah, we did.
Who kicked the kick?
Not a short kick-off. I think
Sinfield.
I want to say Jack. Kicked into the corner, bounced, and there seemed to be something going on in that corner where I think the other winger got influenced by Daryl's presence, I think, in general. Just like
it was comedy, wasn't it?
Yeah, just completely missed it.
Well,
even
missed
though
it and then fell flat on his ass.
But yeah, their winger missed it, and then Jack Smith just parted it back, and it was
Roberts
that scored.
Yeah, it was a nice try.
He's looking better, actually. Lewis Roberts. Speaking of him,
he is.
Where does he fit in? Does he fit in at all now?
Yeah, I think he'll get some game time.
He's going to get some game time.
He looks to be bigger as well, doesn't he? I think he's put. It was really interesting because we were stood right behind the dugout. So, and it was nice to see all the players were there, weren't they?
Yeah, the whole squad was there today. So Reece
how were they reacting? Were they reacting at all?
Well, they buggered off because it was too cold.
Basically, about 30 minutes in, they got a text from Rob Oates, who's in the hospitality, because at the game today, the match bill sponsors was the Caddick Construction Group. Yeah. So obviously, the whole top team.
So Rob's seen them all three.
So you could see Rob Oates at the top.
Rob, was
waving them. So clearly the sandwiches came out. So Sam Lasoni and all that lot, and we go, let's go get some sandwiches.
Let's go up into the hospitality.
But yeah, it's because I've not seen a lot of the new signings like up close.
Yeah, Brody's small, isn't he?
Brody Croft's quite small, but Matt Frawley's quite big.
Really?
I didn't realise. It looked
that startled me. I assumed he'd be about 5'6".
No. Croft is the smaller one.
He looks tall and
Ackers is a lot bigger than you think as well, isn't he?
Really? This is throwing me this.
And I said, Fussy too was a big human, isn't he?
Yeah, he was stood on the lower, like a lower.
I bet he's bigger than you imagine.
Yeah. But it's nice to see them all there.
Yeah,
because that doesn't always happen, does it, with these sort of friendlies? But the team spirit looks a lot better than I've ever seen it. So that's pretty good. But yeah, that were a positive. Stood there.
Yeah, no, and like I said, I think the 2 tries we did score were good. Speaking of a comical moment, when their winger tried to catch it off a kickoff and threw it over the dead ball line.
Yeah,
and that was quite a good one.
Yeah, I don't know what he were doing there.
Yeah, George Tafua plays for Bradford now, by the way.
Who, sorry?
George Tafua. The guy played for Hull, I think, last year.
I don't know who that is.
He's a big lad.
Yeah,
the big side. I think they've gone for that big Bradford.
Well, on that pitch, when it's that small, just go up the middle, and I think that's where obviously you always want to win, but you said before the game, you want to see lots of defence, and we saw plenty of it today.
Yeah,
we saw absolutely plenty of it.
I did say that before the game. No, it wasn't hindsight. Yeah. I did say it's good for the young kids to be defending.
Yeah, against a big pack.
But we saw better structure again today, like in attack. Yeah. I think there was one moment early on when Sinfield kicked through, and it was a really good kick, and it had to get kicked out. It was a goal line dropout, and it was like, we didn't see that at all last year.
Well, no, and
good game management
especially
on the last tackle.
I went to Old Frienders last year, and there was like no structure.
We were really shit last year, weren't we?
Like even during season, there's been a shift, hasn't there? Definitely in how
we finished sets a lot better today than probably most of the games I think during the season last year.
So more in one game.
I think I'm putting Wakefield. I'm putting the Wakefield game in that as well. I think in looking at both of them,
which is bizarre because we got thumped on the scoreline today, but it wasn't about that. You could see that the structures, like, it is a totally different. It seems a bit different to me.
On both sides of the ball, I would say.
Yeah, like the defensive structure is totally different.
There wasn't a lot of stand. I didn't think about this during the game, but that standoff defence that people get really frustrated with.
But that's not.
I haven't seen that.
And Jared was flying out and whacking a few
Friend of the
people.
pod.
Yeah,
he did floor someone. I think was it Michael Lawrence, was it?
Yeah,
Really? He just block up pitch.
He ran out, and we're like, we kept saying, if you're going to run out, make sure it sticks. And he walloped him.
I'm not sure he actually walloped him. I think Michael Lawrence was already falling over in one direction.
It looked.
Why would you do that to Jared? Just give him the hit race.
In my mind,
is Michael Lawrence 54 now? I think
He's 62.
He walloped him.
Yeah,
Don't listen to Reese.
He lost the ball, knocked it on Leeds.
But we weren't rushing out in defence, but we weren't hanging back. It was like really tight and
balanced,
structured.
nice balance.
Jared was rushing out, but only when he thought he could
hit someone.
He played the most minutes today, actually, Jared, out of any of the first teamers, the first 1 to 17 that were on the pitch.
I think he played about 5 different positions as well.
Yeah.
I asked at one point what position was he playing. I think the response was rugby league.
Rugby league.
He
just wasn't in a position. Because Corey Johnson was at 6, but
he ended up in the hooker at one point, I think.
Yeah.
When Fergus came on. It got a bit confusing because, like we said, the poor announcer got knackered because every 2 minutes, I think Rowan was making a substitute with people coming in and off.
Yeah.
Quite often.
Which, it always happens and there's no names on the shirt, so you...
Oh, that's true.
Not that you'd be able to read it in the font anyway. Those were said in the way.
A disgusting font. So it makes it even harder when an academy lad comes on. You're like, who's he?
Yeah.
Who's that? Who's he playing with? We played in the 2004 Heritage shirt. First time the Rhinos have worn it. Did it look better in person? I think am I right in saying we're all fans of it?
I'm not a fan. But
you're not a fan?
The only reason I'm not a fan
We
is...
should have cleared that before coming on air.
Well, no, let me clarify. I'm not a fan because I don't like the 2004 shirt.
That's true.
It's crap. It had yellow panty liners on shoulders.
Panty line?
You have a look, you won't be able to unsee that now.
This is the 2004 kit you're talking about.
So at least they've not done that on this one.
On this one.
It did look good. It looked like the 2004 kit.
Yeah.
So it's done its job.
Yeah.
And
Go
as
back,
always, it always looks better on an athlete.
I'm going to say, because I often think that when you see something, particularly like on X or Facebook or anything, you go, that looks nice, or that looks shy. And then you'll see someone wearing it, you go, actually.
So what I'm saying, for what it is, it's a 10 out of 10. Yeah. As a replica of the 2004 kit, it's top drawer. I'm just not a fan of that kit.
Of that kit anyway.
So although the players' versions, the blue's different and it's proper blue.
Yeah. It looks nice. I thought it looked good today.
The replicas are a bit bright blue, aren't they? The players' versions are a bit dulled out. It looked good for what it is. I just don't like that kit.
Did you enjoy?
I thought it looked good. It was nice to see that kit because obviously we saw the white one on Boxing Day. So yeah, no, I think the Heritage shirt looks I thought it looked really smart today. I've always been a big fan of it. So
do you think it's a good idea to tap into that, like old kit, retro? Because we've loads. We've got 2004 is just the first year and 20 years. But we have
13 years worth.
We have loads of grand final winning shirts. So do you think it's a good idea for the club to tap into that?
They did it in 2017, which was really weird. They had that horrible yellow Banana Man kit.
Yeah.
Oh god.
I didn't know why they brought that back. That's like one of the worst kits they've had. But we've got next year. It'll be a 2015 one for 10 years.
Yeah.
Or would it be the 2005 World Club Challenge?
10 years of the treble.
I think that the problem with the 2005 one, which I think's the best kit we've had in Super League, is it's just a Leeds kit, isn't it?
Yeah, we did we have a special for the World Cup Challenge that year, or was it just?
No, it was that kit. So if they did something like that, it would just look like a proper Leeds kit. So I think they'll use the ones that are a bit more different. So like the 2015 was the dark, which that's one of the only kits I've not got.
Really? What, did you not like it at all?
I did like it, and I don't know why I haven't got one.
Vinted or eBay.
I don't know why I've not got one.
There could be. We haven't had a blue and amber. Obviously, blue and amber was 22, wasn't it? So that normally comes back every 3 or 4 years in a rotation, doesn't it?
That's
when
true.
they make it.
Yeah.
Unless they continue with this principle
I think they will
heritage
because I think they
theme.
will because it goes down well, doesn't it? I think.
I really like it actually.
And it's
I've
nice
really
to
warmed
just
up
print
to
money,
it.
just continue, just more shirts.
Yeah, and it means that we see different kits at home again. Obviously, I don't know if we're having a little Borough kit this year. I haven't said my
I would
idea
hope so.
yet, so Oxen haven't stolen it
That's
yet.
true.
So
Yeah. Oxen
and
are just there with a pen and paper. He's not mentioned anything.
need to have a think about that actually.
We'll probably just give him it with the 2015 thing.
Probably, yeah. But of all that, I was thinking if you would of that era, if you wanted Leeds to do another heritage shirt like they've done this year with the 2004, what shirt would you want to see?
I love the
Do it.
2011,
Which was that?
the Borough.
Oh, the two-tone
Mm,
blue one.
I loved that one. But any grand final shirt for any Leeds fan is going to be great.
So I always liked the 2007 one, the dark blue, just the yellow, slightly a bit of yellow trim.
That's
with
not
the
a
trim.
bad shout.
That's a
You
nice
get
shirt.
that in 2027 then.
Yeah,
Moving forward, yeah, you're almost there.
because that grand final as well. I remember seem to remember thinking that we were quite severe underdogs in that grand final, and we came
were.
out and absolutely trounced them.
Yeah, we did.
We've gone on for loads of tangents on this pod. I think is this going to happen? Now
Well, I think it's
Would
because
you rather talk about this or losing badly to
there's
Bradford?
not that much to talk about with the
Yeah.
Bradford games.
we're basically it's because we're together now, aren't we? So we're reading the room a bit more together and going off on tangents.
Man of the match. Back to the game. Man of the match.
I'll rave about Fergus McCormack week in, week out, but he only did play 15, 20 minutes. I think Jack Smith was the standout player in general over the whole game.
Yeah. Him or Darrell Alfert for his try.
Super try. But his full length.
No, it was Jack Smith.
So we've seen this week some effects that IMG are already having on the game. Super League Plus has been announced. All games are on Sky, as we're all already aware of. And the new Fantasy League. Just to start with Super League Plus, obviously it's a streaming service and the prices have been announced. This is an amazing thing for the game. Chris, do you agree with that?
Yeah, but I'm just going to have a little rant.
Go for
Is
it.
that right?
Chris has been waiting for this moment for quite a long time. He got very.
I just lit the, what's it called?
He got really angry on Twitter
The
this week.
touch-
did
the
Chris?
I did get
Paper
angry
thing,
on
just-
Twitter. But
just
anyway,
light it.
I'm not going to mention that.
Stand back.
I'll let myself down. When IMG came in and everyone was going on about the structure, quite rightly, because to fans it's quite a big thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
And I can remember speaking to people about it, and I'm like, that's the smallest part of what they're doing. Everyone was fixated on the point system and all that. And I get
criteria,
it. I get it. And it's probably easy as a Leeds Rhinos fan to
Because we are the best.
be a bit blasé about it. But I said, just wait. They've got an experienced sports marketing company, probably the biggest
It's not
in the
their
world.
first rodeo.
Just let them get on with it and you'll see a difference. And there were a lot of teeth gnashing and everything. And we're seeing it. Just let we've been crying out for this for years. And pay the money and let them do it.
Yeah.
And we're seeing now that what they can do.
Even in this short period of time.
Well, last few weeks we've just had good news upon good news.
Constant.
Yeah, my rant is that the amount of people that have been miserable about it.
Yeah.
Like, what's bad about Super League Plus and Sky showing all games?
Nothing.
And we've wanted that for years. And
we always, as fans, we always say why rugby league is the best sport, and you've now got an opportunity where every single game is on the telly.
Yeah.
There's going to be more games on the BBC that are free to view.
it's like, what? How are you being negative about it? I've seen people say attendances will suffer. No, they won't. In fact, TV games often get bigger attendances because it's an event, isn't it? But as if all that choice is a bad thing. And the biggest thing is, for me, that will get this out is the... have you seen the social media thing that they've introduced for clubs? So they'll have a place where they can go during the game. The clips are already clipped and they can use that on their social media.
Yeah, they just copy and paste, drag and drop.
So
They don't need any more of this. Why is this rugby union club getting plastered all over the place everywhere?
it's there, and
because they've got a ready-made portal for rugby league just to
rugby league is
all those
probably the
tries.
most clippable sport. In one game, there's hundreds of clips.
Yeah, a pass,
Because
tackles,
there's
tries,
a lot happens.
steps.
kick.
And they've got that at the fingertips. So any club that doesn't utilise that, they don't deserve to be in Super League, do they?
No.
But you're also seeing a bit more of a unified approach on social media, aren't you, now? So there's been unified advertisement from all the clubs.
Seems to be a marketing
about
pack across the
Magic
league,
Weekend,
yeah.
although they've shortened the weekend term to be trendy, which is stupid. But
Is it?
last one.
I don't mind it.
I don't like it.
I'm going to get told off by Chris for being
No,
negative.
you're not. I just don't mind it. It's
But the same thing, I can't remember what the other one was recently, was it the new deal, again, all the clubs released it all at the same time.
Well,
much more collective, just professional.
exactly.
Yeah.
And there was a brouhaha about the deal
Absolutely
going
bad
down for Sky deal. It's actually a bit of a stroke of genius what they've done. I don't know whether IMG were involved with that, but yeah, we've taken a cut, but Sky are paying to produce all the games.
Every game.
And then the RFL or what, Rugby League Commercial or whatever it is, have been able to sell that on. So BBC are now paying, but they're not paying for production, Sky are.
Sky, I
Super League Plus, how much is it, 20 quid a month?
think so.
So
it was 100 and something, wasn't it?
you
For
can
100
make
for
that,
168 games.
you can make that shortfall up fairly easy. You can get that revenue back from people signing up. I can't see any negatives.
There isn't one that's...
And I've been amazed at the people that have been misinformed and not read it, and then be moaning about it.
That platform of the Super League Plus is exactly what the NFL have. So there's an
Yeah,
NFL Game Pass where you can watch all the games. You access to Red Zone. You can go back and watch previous games. You can go watch exclusive interviews, programs that are on there. I have a really sneaky feeling, but boots and all,
Yeah.
I've got a sneaky feeling something like that's coming back, and I really, really hope it does.
That's is it Endeavour? That's part of IMG.
Yeah.
And that's them that's done that. So I'm glad that we've let them do what they can do.
Yeah, because
and people just need to embrace it.
chucked them the keys and said, this needs
and
to change.
it already looks different. The game looks different.
I think so. It seems to be a good feel.
I still think they might change the name, but I'm not. I was all for that, changing Super League's name. But actually, having seen what they've done with it, it looks really good. The brand's bang up to date. The biggest thing for that is bringing all the Super Leagues under one banner, which is unusual. But that's the strength of the game, isn't it? That we've got wheelchair women's and men's, and what they've done is they've brought it all,
Pulled it all in
into
together.
Super League, and it's such a simple idea, but a really effective one.
But I think that's Rugby League's brand, though. In general, I think the best success of the World Cup that just went was the fact it was a collective World Cup. It was women, wheelchair, and rugby league, men. Sorry, but and that's rugby league prides itself on being a family community game.
Exactly.
So that if that's the brand, then I think it makes sense.
Yeah,
to
it's
put it on
not. It's
the
not
one
like football where the women's Super League they're trying to build that up as its own thing. I think we're doing the right thing,
Pulling
in
everything
it all together, because that's the strength of it.
Absolutely.
And it looks slick. It looks like a different sport to me. So well done, IMG. I'm just
In such a short period of time, we're all cooing already.
yeah. Well, they've been, is it a year and a half? And people expected like that instant results, and it's like it doesn't happen like that.
No.
The work they're doing now will have taken a year and a half.
Yeah.
And I think it'll be brilliant next season.
Oh, I do.
There's a lot of positivity, which is unusual, but there's still them negative people.
They're always going to be, but I mean, the other positive that I saw, which I think is next on the list, Eddie, is the Fantasy Super League.
Yes.
And I was showing you the clip they've just put out before of the players reacting to their scores.
Such a good idea.
And there's hackers
Such a
there
good
going,
idea. Yeah.
what the hell is this? And that is just like, it's brilliant. I love stuff like that, but it looks professional. It looks great. I'm really excited for Fantasy Super League this year, because I've always given up on the Fantasy Super League, because it crashed after 1 week, and I was also quite rubbish.
There's a shock.
I can't put Cam Smith in every position, so that's the problem. But again, that is another step that just makes a game look more professional, but again, gets more interest in it. If you're showing all the games, people, it's really stupid. On the NFL, when I've got my fantasy teams up, I'm cheering on. Sometimes I'll
player that
celebrating.
you have
Yeah,
in your team.
when I'm playing against someone.
It just adds
like,
more drama to
yeah,
it. And
like,
it also gives people a reason who are, knee deep in fantasy football. It gives them a reason to watch a game.
Yeah.
So they may see Thursday night game and it'll be, I don't know, London and Hull, and think it's a bit of a dull game, but I've got two players playing, and if that draws people in to watching more.
I've never been one to do it because it's too much commitment and I forget to do it, but it is big, isn't it? And people do it, and like you say, maybe lapsed fans or people that are just seeing the sport and they're into fantasy league sort of things.
Yeah.
But we've never had one that's done professional. And they've outsourced that as well, haven't they?
Yeah, I mean, it's all this. It's going to be nice sort of heaven. Actually, it's really stats based and scores and stuff like that. Like, I think it's going to be quite interesting to see how they've done that. And
because getting stats was a nightmare. It's so amateurish, wasn't it?
Yeah,
and hopefully that
not
means,
from Reese.
No, I didn't mean that. Obviously,
I did wonder if he was at point.
Reese does an amazing job with the shite that he's given.
Yeah, he does. That's true.
Like, and
he takes the shite and turns it.
They
into
all
goal.
should be, readily available.
Absolutely,
it should be. But I think the difference of this fantasy league is they're going into that data and giving more people to have a reason to have a look at it and learn about players as well and learn who's good and stuff. So,
and what it's doing is, and we've always been rubbish at this as a sport. The players are the biggest asset of rugby league.
Yeah,
because they're down to earth, they're relatable, but on the flip side, they're like superhuman, aren't they? They've never marketed the players. Have you seen the billboards?
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah.
Absolutely brilliant. So there's one in Leeds of Harry Newman, Jai Fields in Wigan.
That took me by absolute shock, by the way.
Why they've never done that before? I mean, they did put it on the side of Eddie Stobart fans once, but that's one for amateurish rugby league, isn't it?
Another one.
When you see them and you're like, yes, why? And
why are we doing more of it? It just seems so simple.
Well, it is
such a simple.
They've
never. Why haven't we done it before?
They've never had the money or the expertise in,
or just couldn't be asked.
But the look professional as well. There's those billboards as well. Like,
they're absolutely fantastic.
I can't believe how excited I got about that billboard actually. But I just when I saw it, I was like,
simple but so.
God, this is just this. If that's the steps that we're now starting to take, giving them another year.
It started early last year as well. Did you notice that there was some Leeds players going to MMA games? I mean, I'm not an MMA fan, but
there were. Yeah,
IMG are trying to push the players into situations where you wouldn't normally see them.
Right,
and that's what they need to be doing. They need to. People need to know who Harry Newman is.
Need to push their profile.
Or Jack Wellesby or those people.
Or Wellesby at the darts.
They need to be at the forefront selling the game. And, we've met players and things like that. You've had them on the pod. They're good people, aren't they? And they're a massive asset which has been underused. So I don't think it's running anymore, is it? But like Question of Sport and things like that, or any.
Yeah.
There's one on Sky, isn't there?
League of Their Own.
Yeah, the players should be on.
You need to
stuff
push
like
them
that.
onto there. IMG will help them.
And like from our club, like Harry Newman's perfect for that because he's got a lot of personality, hasn't he? And
I think Sam Tompkins will be first on the League of Their Own if anyone goes.
Yeah,
on
I know, but we have to. I know Sam Tompkins is great, and he is definitely that RL darling, and he's obviously got a job at Sky now. But he's retired. We need to Chris. We need to
the
push
young
the
kids.
next Sam Tompkins, and not just one.
So you mentioned him obviously going to the Sky team now, and obviously they've got the new commentators on Sky as well.
Yes.
Do you think they're realising they're having to change themselves or be different?
I don't mind Dave Woods and I don't mind Mark Wilson, but to me, it's just too much of the same. I would have loved it if they'd have brought in two brand new.
I want them to throw some money at Vossi. Get him over for a season.
And just throw.
Get Andrew Voss over.
10 million
He said he'd do it.
But
Andrew Voss.
I remember in the World Cup, he was like, he'd go out in Warrington money for a pie or whatever before the game.
He just engulfed it all.
It's absolutely brilliant, isn't it? But that's not going to happen. But at least they're making steps.
I agree with that.
Steps forward. They had no choice, did they?
Yeah.
It's. I mean, I don't know whether the Super League Plus is going to be just Sky's feed.
That's true.
I don't know.
Or is it going to be all different?
There's not enough commentators. I think we need to up a skill set. We might get on.
I'm not sure I could keep. If it was
Like,
a non-Leeds, if it was a
segment.
Leeds game, I think it'd be worse. I think I'd be worse if I was watching commentating on
I'm
a
a
Leeds
madman,
game.
no, I
Because
couldn't
I'd just
do
be, Daryl, for fuck's
Yeah.
sake,
Sack
Daryl.
him! Sack him all!
Whereas I could if it was a neutral game, I probably could be all right with it. But if it was a Rhinos game,
Yeah, but I'd just be pissing myself if Johnny Lomax knocked on or not on full. I'd just be in stitches. Oh, they've started doing me out now.
Told you it was shit.
I don't think
A
they'll be
big
getting
baby.
any good. So it's just really, really good to see them all things moving on.
All
I
games
think.
on Sky.
But yeah, those billboards were immense, weren't they?
Absolutely.
I shouldn't take that much excitement over it, but I really did. But I think
It's because of what we used to,
Yeah.
which
because
is
we get nothing.
which is just tin pot shite.
Yeah, so when we do see a big billboard,
I must say the beautiful thing is about this weekend was there was a lot of tin pot stuff happened, which I hope that never goes.
yeah.
Have you seen Hull's mascot?
Oh, for God's sake! Yeah, well, before we started this, I thought I need to mention this. That is the most. Oh God, it's the most rugby league thing I've ever seen. What they called it, Radders or something.
For anybody that hasn't seen it, it's a radiator.
I mean,
It's a sponsored mascot, but they've still got the Arlie Birds things, haven't they? So they've still got the whatever the mystery is, but
Yeah.
then they've got this radiator with a plug.
Plug-in radiator.
I mean, it's either going to be genius, isn't it? Or I mean,
So bad it's good.
yeah, I don't know, but
I think if that comes to IMG points, that's a negative score.
I would
I'm
just,
sorry.
I would just like, because lights going out at Wakefield, then that will release. I'm like, don't change.
Just
At least we've got to keep a bit of that.
We can bring in these multi-million pound
I think-
companies.
So this
I
is
think
why
Leeds-
things like Odsal need to stay because, like,
Maybe,
Yeah.
but even
Can't forget who we are.
Leeds were in on the act today
Yeah.
because they put the team sheet out
Bradford
and
Wolves.
it said Warrington versus Bradford. I'm like, yes.
Amateur
keep a bit-
RL account's going to have a...
Oh, it's fab, yeah.
It's never ever going to stop.
It's so I'm all for the professionalism. It's amazing what's going on, but just keep that little
But
bit
it's
of
nice to get-
absolute shyness.
Yeah, that warmth of shit that we're also...
Just
that little
keep that going, just
shit
a little
pie.
bit.
there's going to be
There's
some
in-
right chance towards that radiator this year.
Can you imagine?
That poor bloke, poor person that's in that suit. Oh my God.
I just look at that though and think, someone said, "Oh, that looks great."
No. Who's in these meetings? Don't someone say, hang on, does anybody think that looks shit?
The problem is, I get it because the radiator company that's sponsoring it are probably thinking, oh, everyone's talking about it. Yeah, but they're not talking about your radiator company, are they? They're talking about how shy that is.
Stupid mascot.
It
That's what they're
doesn't
all
always work that way, does it?
I want to pull the plug on that.
Hey.
Hey, wait. Just to finish up, we've got Hull KR away next. Team, should we see, you kind of mentioned earlier, Chris, we haven't seen many first teamers, quote unquote. Should a few more be kind of thrown into things now, or are you like me and absolutely petrified that Brody Cross going to blow his knee out playing against Hunslet away?
They need to play full
get 'em in.
team. If it's going all right, get them off after 60 minutes, but they need to play, don't they?
Yeah, I think the expectation is it's going to be a lineup that you will be very similar to round one against Salford. We haven't seen Croft yet, so selfishly, I want to see some of these players. I want to see Momorowski. I want to see some of these players selfish as a fan.
I don't think Momorowski will play. I've heard that he
went back to Australia.
went back to Australia for
He's in
something. I
Australia,
think he's gone to get his family.
Yeah, and he's coming back.
So I doubt he'll play, but
should-
I'm like you. It's like I forgot. Because it's been so long this off season, hasn't it?
Yeah, it's longest
I'm like-
known history.
Oh shit, we've got a whole new team, and we've not seen them
Don't see any
play.
of them.
Yeah, so I think for me, again, we've spoken positives about the youngsters and both of these friendlies, even when it's been mixed about the structures, but that all doesn't fucking matter until we actually see the actual
Till we see
team
'em.
Yeah.
play it. They're going to do a short kick-off straight away, aren't they? It's going to send me to the fucking high room.
Yeah, because
Before it-
Lackey Miller is actually
He's
really
actually
good.
quite, he's actually quite good at them, yeah. It's just no one can catch
And
them.
we're going to do loads.
But no, I want that to be as close as possible, but there needs to be that sensible thing about it, which is we will have the same rules, which is more unlimited subs. If we've got 6 props in the squad that day, all 6 props get at least 10 minutes sort of thing. And it gets, I think there still needs to be rotation. We still need to be sensible. Any little sign of a niggle, get them off.
Yeah.
If anyone's even, only 80% ready for that game, they don't play. So I think there's got to be a degree of sensibility about it, but I don't think they can go into round one at Salford not have having put a competitive spine or game team together against a good Hull KR team as well, and I think they'll bring probably a pretty experienced side as well.
Yeah, I'm nervous about that game.
Really? Nervous?
The Salford one.
Oh, the Salford game.
Yeah. Don't know why.
Oh, batter him.
Nenny's not going to turn up. Don't worry about it.
Nene.
He'll get injured before.
I think I'm nervous just because
there's a degree of expectation, isn't there?
There is, but I'm always.
But there always is.
I can always temper that because I still don't think we're going to hit a straps for 2 months.
Oh, I do.
But I think we've got a good enough side, good enough players to ride that out. And I think when they do hit the straps, I think they're going to be
all the way to
shit hot this year. But I've said that now, haven't I?
And I think if we do finish on this note, obviously it's actually James Donaldson's testimony that whole KR game.
Oh, yes, it is.
And in tribute to Dono today, do you know what we got today? We got 2 high tackle penalties against James Donaldson.
First run
he went in.
We were like yes!
Get it! He's back with a bang!
Head down, Dono, head down.
Head down, slide in.
High tackle. He got 2.
He played well, actually.
Yeah. But first tackle, we were both kind of shouting, head down, head down, head down, locked off, penalty.
Yes.
Don't say much,
He
Dono.
really fell away from that last year.
I didn't think he just didn't get awarded them.
No, he really
got
fell
battered
away.
at some points.
2022, it was his number one skill set.
So we need at least 5 of them.
Yeah, whoever's reffing that game, I don't know. Obviously, they're clearly not listening to this, but if they are listening to this, I want at least 5 penalties for James Donaldson getting a high tackle.
And if they're kickable, he's got to kick them all.
He has to kick him. Yeah, it's the testimonial game.
Short kickoffs, James Donaldson.
Yeah.
And on that note, we will be back to review the Hull KR game. Take care, everybody. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time.